Please welcome J.W. James.
I got Charles to have the first poem. Yeah, don't ask me for any writing. It will be. Is that good? Is that like better like that? A little closer.
Better into the mic, yeah.
Into the mic.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we already found out. Well, first I do want to thank. I said this to Stephen before anyone was here. This is the most well-organized and well-publicized reading, and I'm very grateful. It's my first reading since I moved to Eugene, and it's just a really good thing to have. 20 minutes. I'm going to be a professor of philosophy here. Stephen already mentioned my favorite poet is Kenneth Patchen. Does anyone here know who that is? Good. He wrote 35 books of poems, and he would not identify with the beats or he did read to jazz music, but he wouldn't identify with any group, and he was also very ill for most of his life and at home doing his poetry. He wrote, oh my gosh, is this still, how do you straighten? Like that? Yeah. I am the world crier, and this is my dangerous career. So my first poem is about the Monkey King, who is a Chinese folk god. And the mythic story is that he's very brave and a trickster, born from a stone egg. Is that going down?
How do I keep this
Like there for me. It seems like it's sinking. Thank you. No, it's not there. That's perfect. Just a little closer now. Okay. So, Monkey King's a trickster, mischievous, a journeyer. He can somersault around the world. I was on a city bus one day and I met him. The poem's called Critters. Rain tooth, snow bed, Monkey Man does his devil dance. Centuries ago in ancient China, he could leap over planets. Even today in India, Monkey Man a king, eats marigold petals, crimson sacred bindi on third eye. In this place, he gets stuck in bowling alleys, rides the city bus, misses his stop. Monkey Man, you king of monkeys, you moon shuttle, I heard you were a telemarketer. Here's an umbrella, a switchblade, black coral. Monkey Man, meet me at the 7-Eleven. They have 50-cent coffee. You make me want to scream. I know I'll have to follow you through rain into the scarred land with all the other small furry animals. Monkey fury, we're both critters. There's a wasp in the nest, a gold sheen over everything. Monkey shine, Monkey Man, mine, bumpy road, descending, throwing stones with your paw. Monkey paws, muddy man in the center. There's a spin. Monkey Man don't mean anything, and that's a lie. Here's a poem. I don't like disclaimers before poems too much. You'll know it. It's called Red Hot. Children sprayed with DDT by small planes overhead. They name the creek with the leaking metal drums, Daisy Floating Creek. On the other side of the swamp, Niagara Mohawk Power Plant. UFOs near Nimo, men in black menacing in the bushes. Clusters of tadpoles and bullfrogs, expansion of amphibians. Clay swamps alive and will sustain you. Nettles and blackberry brambles at home, the fabric of childhood torn. But they found a vortex, while coal miner fathers sat at their bars in basements. Two girls claiming their own space there, singing over and over, My girl is red hot, your girl is diddly squat. Twirling around the basement pole and chasing each other, she wore all red, maybe a devil costume. You wanted to be her girl. You loved that game. You in the cardinal plaid, a leather skirt, a red beret. You only had a tiny piece of the puzzle then, a train in your future. There is only so much a girl can take. This title is familiar to a few of my poets who are from my group. The tongue of rain is licking my mind. My tongue licking rain moss, my tongue licking rain stone. Flood of tongues ululating, chorus of frogs across my eyelids. Sleep of dust in my synapses. Who can hold on in this flood? I shiver, I chatter, I tremble. The tongue of rain licking my tongue of rain. Forecast of nightmares and the source of rain. Pale umbrella beneath those tense blackened clouds. Mountains brick red and lava heaping. Caffeine, another language, licking my brain. Truth blurt, that strand breaks, and beads scatter. A doorway opens. I'm severed from sleep. Thank you. I was putting things together, and I realized I haven't read from my book in, it's 2004, 14 years. I just never bring it out when I go to do readings. I just read more current stuff. But my book's really alive. It has a beautiful silkscreen cover. My friend Martha Burke is an artist in Berkeley, and I got to set each page the way I wanted it to. It was like a gift from the universe. The myth of this book is Saint Anthony, who was thrown out of the church like Saint Francis. He took a vow of poverty. They wanted money. So he went to the shore of the sea in the Adriatic and gave his sermons to the fish. And the myth is, and I saw a fantastical picture, which is a painting, which is why this came to me, that they all come up out of the sea and lift their heads, so that was beautiful. When I saw this call for poetry as ecstatic vision, I just was like, oh, I already have this written. It's just 10 years of dream journals and some work. The Dream Parables. In the beginning was an earthquake. The world was held together by water and orchids. No one could find another home to move into. It would be centuries before home would be made whole again. First came the century of rotting. Earthworms reigned. They broke down continuity and expectation. The only source of light in this century was a pinpoint, far, far above. Night filled with tremendous fear. Second came the century of the crow. Background noises took precedence. The path obscured. The century of poison arrows. Shoes are forfeited. No one could be sure if the watermarks were aligned. Why have our ancestors forgotten us? The century that death divides. The century of the perfume of death. The legacy of madness. The century of the political prisoners. The witnesses were amazed because we looked so strange, flying in that beautiful country. Oh! Schism. We're back to the century of the earthquake. When I saw you the first time, standing in front of Woolworths on the Pacific Garden Mall, all at once, I knew my destiny. Blood red November sunset, the sky a portent, paradise at the crossroads. I never knew more than I did in that moment. Santa Cruz, my love, I never thought it would end. The fish and mice, the parakeets have disappeared with Woolworths. A quake that shattered our vision. The teacup destroyed, best bar in town, with its mysterious red foam perched on a bamboo pedestal. I had no powers greater than a 7.1 on the Richter scale. When I was a prophet, everything was possible. The sidewalks had not cracked. My dreams were alive. People then were constantly rushing up to each other, looking into each other's eyes, asking about each other's souls. Until the afternoon, we were weeping at the town clock tower, its hands frozen at 5:17, watching 9 purple balloons released, one for every life lost in the quake. Rising toward the sky, that cluster of souls, instead, several stuck in the space behind our clock. We gasped. Even the dead don't want to leave Santa Cruz. When the small crowd broke up, nothing would ever be the same. Instead, we'd be living in a schism. And this is from my book. One page. There will be earthquakes. We will hear the tongues of beggars speaking directly into our secret ears. We will decide to come home again. Even in a gentle and giving world, oh God, we tremble with fear in it. Space of fragility. Is there a bird singing? Does a bird sing there? See, you can't tell with my poems when I'm done. They just go on and on. Someone could help me. There's a poet who says, maybe it's all his poems are one poem. Robert Creeley, I think. So, I have one more. This poem comes from the years I worked as an RN in oncology and hospice. And another very favorite poet of mine writes, C.D. Wright is her name, death clings to poetry. And in my case, it's been true. Inside the labyrinth's deepest reaches, a phone rings, but nobody answers. A dirge is playing, the walls creep with vines, like plague, like virus. I held their hands, sometimes they were frightened. Michael P., I will never forget your anger. Sometimes it was morphine dreams at death. The ones I fell in love with, I could never turn the corner with. In the end, I lost them in the labyrinth. Because a door shuts with death, we stay here with our devils. There is palmistry, there are augurs and dreams. Christy told me she was curious. Patricia ate dark plums and made me promise to go with her to Cafe Zeno, but I knew she'd never make it home. 2. Once I looked out our window and saw a New Orleans-style funeral procession going down the street. They were on their way to the bar down Seabright. There was a band and horses pulling a cart. There were women twirling parasols, singing and dancing. This is the way out of the labyrinth. This is the only way in the burning world, in the world of darkness. We make a procession steadily out of the labyrinth, full of noise, disorder and dancing, ashes and roses. Hello, goodbye, love. Hello, goodbye. Thank you.